Hat-Tricks fans, welcome to another edition of Caglianone's Corner. I'm joined today by head coach Lenny Caglianone. Now, Lenny, we've just cleared off one regular season series off the board. For you as a head coach in your first year with the Hat-Tricks, what does that mean to you?
I mean, listen, it means a lot, but I think there's something a little bit more important that we have to talk about, Patrick. I heard that there was a engagement in the Hat-Tricks family. Is that correct?
That is indeed correct. I proposed to my lady of 6 years, and we are now engaged. So thank you for shouting me out on your story. It meant a lot to hear that from you. Also kind of, blindsided me a little bit, but not in a bad way. I just didn't expect the full repost treatment from the Lenny Caglianone.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're all a big family here. We're a big family. Very big. Very, very tight. Very tight as well. So we got to make sure we take care of each other here. But yeah, I mean, transitioning, to do it in year one and to grab a series where you said we had, I think prior to us getting on here, we were 500 against them last year, right?
Just about.
Yeah. So I mean to take it handedly with a 6-1-1 record, correct?
6-1-1.
Or 6-1-0-1, whatever, however they
no 6-1-1 because we beat them twice in a shootout. So.
Okay, yeah, I mean, listen, it's great. It's definitely a feather in the cap, but it's not something that is on the board where we got to check a box on it. I mean, obviously you want to try to win every season series, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a good memento to have, a good talking piece in the room, but. Again, you enjoy your 15 minutes and then move on.
And also this weekend, we split with the Generals, grabbing night one in a shootout, and unfortunately losing night two via overtime. Now, this is also a series where I feel that we got too comfortable at times. I don't know if you would agree on that, but kind of want to hear your take on the weekend as a whole, performance-wise.
Yeah, I mean, obviously on Friday, we go up 3-0, right? And we chase Nolan out of the net. And then they brought in Bonds. And I think we haven't struggled with him. We just haven't figured him out in that sense because we haven't seen him a lot. And I think he's newly acquired right throughout the series for the latter of the two games. But yeah, I mean he's a good goalie. He's calm, he's collected, and I think us not having the optics on him and diving in on that. It was a little bit tougher to figure him out, but yeah, I mean he kind of closed the door, and then I know a lot of people thought it was kind of comedy, me expressing in a transparent way how I felt about the reffing, and I think the officiating on Sunday was monumentally worse than Saturday, and I thought that was pretty hard to trump. But yeah, I thought they hijacked the narrative. Those guys shouldn't be allowed out when it's snowing outside, let alone touch ice ever again. I mean, that's how I feel about that. But like I said, we hold our guys highly accountable here. We know that we had more than enough chances to score. But you got to tip your cap to Barnes at Northeast. Like he was very good. Like I said, he was calm, collected. He knew where his net was. He didn't panic in times of high sensitivity where, pucks were getting constantly thrown at the net. But yeah, we got to finish. And I don't know if that's a complacency thing or a comfort level. But realistically, for me, it's finding that next gear. And I don't think, to your point, that we found that next gear. I don't think we did. I think we sat in fourth or fifth gear. I don't really think we put our foot on the floor and really just held on and tried to drive through it. So it's frustrating to see. But again, if those grade A's go in, right, the surplus that we had on both evenings, right, we're not talking about this right now, right? Everything's kosher. So, I mean, there's two sides to it. But yeah, I'd like to see it be done more consistently.
And now, speaking of Barnes, his former squad, the Aviators, we travel up there to Elmira this weekend to play our last two meetings with them for the season. Currently, we lead that 3-1. Now, what do you feel is kind of the narrative going into this weekend, kind of touching on that staying in fourth and fifth gear?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can't take anybody lightly, and I think, in retrospect, that's kind of what we did. You can't take anybody lightly in this league, let alone the division, because everything is so tight. I think we are the closest division in regards to the standings and the spread on the points. Monumental weekend, more important than the last. But going into this weekend, it's just they're a heavy team, right? So how do you counteract heavy hockey play? You let the puck do the work. You have puck efficiency and stick detail. You insulate the interior of the ice with structure. You let them play perimeter hockey, and you turn the dial to 12 on your speed, right, and your thought process. So you got to go in with a chess mentality. But for us, it's more so about getting in and getting blue collar too. Like just going over the film from this weekend. Like you look at some of our 50 interactions on the yellow, we are just delinquent with stick detail. Absolutely zero angle. I think it's about layering. Interactions and what you're going to do post-interaction if we have puck possession or if we're on the defensive side of it. So just going into Elmira is just, listen, play chess, but also have that blue-collar foundation that'll allow you to go in and win 50s and be effective. But, hey, listen, you could say, we talk about this all the time, and I feel like I say we talk about this all the time, but, I mean, come on, you're at that point in the year. It's February, man.
Yep.
Like, should be second nature, right? So you would hope that the maturity step is there, I think, for the most part.
And then just to kind of top off this conversation, Nico Tornis got named Forward of the Month by the league. I know he had a stellar month through 9 games played, 10 goals, 9 assists for 19 total points, including his first hat trick in one of those games. Do you have a few words about Nico?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when we first got Nico, it was tough, right? You see a kid who played a full season in the USHL. Maybe didn't get the licks that he wanted to. Went out to the BCHL prior to coming here. Just didn't like the atmosphere. Didn't think he fit there. Didn't think it was going to be good for him. And then to kind of, trust us, trust the organization, and kind of trust the approach that I had with him when we sat down and talked. And, I think it was a little bit turbulent in the beginning because dealing with a ton of emotions, right? And a ton of insecurities, I think, when you go to step on that ice, trying to readjust and recalibrate with your identity. And, we sat down and had an honest conversation. And honestly, the fact that he's an 06 and the way he's handled some of the adversity and the extracurricular narratives that have had intangible impacts on his mental and emotional state. Grabbing a letter, right? Rising to the occasion, making sure that he came to play every night, working on his 200-foot game. I could go on, and one, he's just an incredible human being. He's super mature. When I talk to him, I don't look at him as a player or a subordinate or anything of that nature. I look at him as a mature man, a professional athlete. He invests time away from the rink in optics and in his skill. He's an incredible kid, right? And they're just so hard to come by nowadays, where you're looking at a complete human being who hockey isn't, just an identity. It's his life. And it's refreshing to see. He's great. He's going to go on to do a lot of good things in this game, and I'm proud to have worked with him. And I couldn't be prouder of him. He's awesome. He's a really, really good kid. He really is, and he deserves all the success that he has right now.
Absolutely, and well said, Lenny. Fans, you can catch these 2 games this weekend, both on NATV on Friday, February 7th and Saturday, February 8th, both with puck drops for 7 p.m. Just make sure to slick that over to the away feed to hear our call of the game. And Lenny, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Pat.